Well, good morning and welcome to virtual field trips with parks, museums, and zoos. Should start this from slide 1. That's not very cool of me to start that far down. I'm Rebecca Rosecrans from TCCSA, and if you haven't met me in person, you might have through one of these. These are our breakfast bites, and this summer we're delivering new topics to you every Tuesday. Those of you watching the recordings of these events, you are able to file for online credit through a link we provide on our website. And if I want to give you a little history of my experience with virtual field trips, when I started at TCCSA in 2002, there was a brand new grant that was awarded. And I know a few of you, give me a reaction in our Zoom tool. If you were one of these schools that had these big clunky monitors with these Polycom or VTEL systems, the camera was mounted on top, and it might have been in your building because you were part of this grant that was state funded. Very expensive equipment, had to be in one room. Then you would have to schedule and reserve that room. Someone had to know how to run the equipment and schedule with a connection in Columbus, all very complicated and clunky. But the purpose was to start collaborating with other schools in the area. And even Hillsdale, one of our schools, had a student who could not go to school. He had immune deficiency, and even back then he had this unit at home in his classroom. They had a unit and they would connect, and he was a kindergarten student just like everyone else, and kids would welcome him to class each morning, just walk up to the camera and say hi. And so he learned at a distance that long ago. Let's fast forward to now, and it's a little different, much easier. Even your own laptop from your classroom can be used, and cameras are built in, microphones are as easy as a pair of earbuds with a mic, and there are still more sophisticated systems. A few of our schools have them because they were part of a straight A grant a few years ago. And so those units are even becoming aged and are getting replaced, but it's much easier now. Now, what I feel is that the difference between then and now is that folks aren't really aware of the different options. So meaning, I want to be sure we're clear today on what virtual field trips are, the options out there, the resources. People don't often know about the Ohio Distance Learning Association, so I'll introduce that to you. The CILC, which is kind of a clearinghouse, a place to find collaborations and other organizations offering connections. And then I will be using Amanda's list of specific parks, museums, and zoos, as well as one that I get newsletters for pretty frequently, and others as they come to mind. So if you're ready to go on our own little virtual field trip, give me a reaction in our Zoom or a chat. Okay, I'm getting some thumbs up there. Looking beautiful. Thanks, everybody. Checking on Casey and Johnny and Lori. Oh, and I see some chats. Great. Ready. Awesome. So the poll, let's take a quick poll. And this one is going to pop up on your screen. Even on a mobile device, it would just take over the whole thing. And for those of you who are watching this recording, I'll pull this in. And this is what I'm asking everyone. A physical field trip. Have you gone on one lately? I don't want to ask about last school year. I pretty much know the answer to that. But how about this year? I have 13 folks in our group. The 14th is my second computer, just so I can be sure I'm sending you out. So when I have enough, I will answer for that computer. All right, everybody's answered. So I'll end that. So I'm surprised 5 of you actually got to go on a field trip. If you don't mind sharing, put that in our chat to let everybody know where you got to go. And I'm asking because knowing this gives me a feel for what our needs are. Majority of you said no, 9 of you, 5 of you said yes, and some of those coming in for who went on a physical field trip. That's what the question is. I see Maria got to go to the farm at Walnut Creek. Gwen went to the Great Lakes Science Center. Okay, and we have Maria. Now, wait a minute. You went to 2 field trips. She also went to the Akron Zoo. And then Casey got to go to Sluggers and Putters. Oh, too fun. Now, we have a new hurdle in front of us. It's the gas prices, right? So next school year, when we return, you might be looking at, gee, can we afford? Maybe they said we could go, but is it feasible? And we might be looking at virtual field trips as an option instead. So, oh, and Jackie said she got to go to the Smithville Pioneer Village. Awesome. So for you, that's not too far. And the kids got to probably walk down there for those who are in Smithville at the Green School District. If I give you an idea, somebody like Amanda, she might disagree with me on this one. That would be, what are virtual field trips? I'm going to be a little bit looser with my definition because I have found wonderful virtual field trips that are pre-recorded. Typically, though, there'll be a narrator or a guide or some type of outline that you can follow. Sometimes these type of virtual field trips included a virtual reality headset for an immersive experience. And these are still out there. The virtual headsets, they're kind of going to the wayside. Or a virtual field trip can be alive. And this is really where Amanda sets her definition, that they're scheduled. They have video and audio like we're doing right now live, and you can connect with another classroom or another destination. So I'm going to escape this just for a moment so we can visit our hidden worlds. And these are national parks. These have been around for years. And I don't have a poll for this, but if you want to put into the chat, those participating live, where do you want to go? I'm going to let you pick. Do we want to go to Hawaii? Do we want to go to New Mexico, Utah, Florida, or Alaska? Okay, I have 1 vote for Utah. Anyone else? Ooh, Hawaii. Oh gosh, so far there are no duplicates. Somebody wants to go to Kenai. That was our Alaska visit. Another Utah. We got a Florida. Oh, everybody's voted for at least one of every one except for New Mexico. But I see a couple Hawaiis. Okay, we have 3. So that's what we're going to do. I know I forgot one important detail when I shared my screen, and that is to share my sound. So let me do this again. And I'm going to stop share just to make sure that this takes, because you need to hear the audio portion. All right, we're back. Hawaii it is. And I apologize if the audio is too loud. Just adjust your own volume.
To visit the island of Hawaii is to take a trip back in time, when the map of the world was still bubbling beneath the surface of the ocean. Explore the land shaped by the world's most active volcano with Park Ranger Andrea Ka'avaloa Okita, who grew up with Hawaii Volcanoes National Park in her backyard.
Compared to the rest of the planet, Hawaii is very young. It's constantly changing and still growing. Pelehonuamea, the fire goddess, created these islands, and she continues to shape this place with her power. I grew up in this park and come from a family of rangers. I'm drawn to this place by how Pele's story is linked to the island's geologic history. When you're here, you're seeing her handiwork.
That is just the introduction.
This magnificent Hawaiian rainforest is a vibrant ecosystem. It's home to many native plants, birds, insects.
And then it would go on to be a virtual tour that you would take independently, or you could guide your class. Those are out there everywhere. Google Arts and Culture has a wonderful collection. But I'm going to set those type of virtual field trips aside. I would like to focus on the ones you probably know less about and have a harder time finding, because the time between 2002 to the past 2000, well, to now, to 2022, I have not really seen the promotion of these live events that often. So that's why I'm here. I want to share what I know, and so you can go off and be aware and take and be part of these. So let's take a look at one example from the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. This is an example of a live virtual field trip.
Good morning, New Jersey. Are you guys almost ready over there? Yes. Are you sure you're almost ready over there? Well, good morning. My name is Trent Johnson. I am a health educator here at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. How are you guys doing this morning? Good, perfect. That means I'm going to zoom in a little bit further, and you guys may begin to recognize a particular cell. Any cell on here you guys think you may know the name of, I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a really big hint. These cells are the ones behind me. Anyone know the name of these cells? Don't let the color fool you. It's just for the camera. Jeremy. Red blood cells, exactly. Now these are blue, but our blood is definitely not blue. These are red blood cells, and those cells can be seen on this magnification here. There's also
fish crows in your area in New York. They're all scavenging animals as well. So it's a common situation, but these guys will go after fresh plant material, and they will go after fresh animal material too.
Now, Bob, I suspect I heard a lot of kids do the classic "oh" sound effect when we zoomed in. She's pretty cute. But just as a cautionary note, opossums have more molars in their mouth than any other animal that anybody knows of, and we really don't know why. So just for fun, I'm going to show you if you could x-ray Juniper's head and see her skull clearly. This is what an opossum's set of teeth look like.
Whoa.
That's a lot of teeth, and they're all extremely sharp. The back teeth tend to have some flat surfaces for grinding because they are also eating plants. In Ohio, when you talk about mammals, the furry animals, the possum has the most teeth. They have 50 teeth. And compared to us, you know, your adult teeth, you'll end up with, how many teeth, adult? 32
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So what you're going to do, Michael, is you're going to take one of these out of the container, drop it in there with that little bit of water, very quickly put the lid on and go snap. All right, so it's on there tight. And then also very quickly take that guy and put him down so the lids are touching each other. And we will see what happens when the force pops the lid off of that container. Whoa! That was fast. That was fast, Michael. Wow. So what happened? Michael, describe to me in your words what happened right there.
It looked like a rocket launch, but the force from the tablet, which is bubbling like crazy, the bubbles actually pushed on the lid so it popped with incredible amount of force and pushed this one back, and the other one launched way over there to the chair.
Interesting.
All right, so the Cleveland Museum of Natural History, yes, we live in Ohio, we could visit, and they do offer free programs, and they happen to be free because of a grant that's going to continue, and money has been set aside. I'll get into the details of that in the future here. But we saw in those examples, these large monitors, kind of 2 screens side by side, the Polycom systems, a little more traditional in her examples that Lee sent me, but doesn't mean you can't do this with just your simple laptop in your classroom, the camera that's built in, and your projector so that the class can see the far side, the distant side. Oh, apologies. Going to go to the next slide. So what makes a successful virtual field trip? Well, it depends. Well, what do you do when you have a real field trip? Typically, you plan activities prior. So you're studying a subject in class, and you want the students to be prepared and have even questions ready for the day of. Now, if you were at a physical field trip, there probably aren't questions going on unless it's an activity like COSI and they have a special presentation. And we also want to be sure when the kids come back to the classroom, there's a post activity to review. So think of this like a traditional field trip. Those elements help make this experience that much more valuable and can be as engaging as going in person with everything that's planned around it. I'm going to talk to you now then about the group, the Ohio DLA, Distance Learning Association. TCCSA is a member, so I can help anyone who is trying to participate in some of these activities. And this is a whole list of organizations that they work with. I do want to point out, though, some of those organizations listed might have a fee. And COSI would be on the list too. I just happened to take it out because many of these are free. And here's why. Oh, and before I get to that, they do have their own YouTube channel. If you are curious, when I send out this presentation, then you can visit their YouTube channel. You can check out videos that they've had in the past, and that's where I got the video that we just watched. And they even talk about activities throughout this past school year they've recorded and showed us. So they did a showcase a year ago, which was really nice that they were able to talk about some of the collaborations that they do. So this is something you can come back to later. You can see examples here on their showcase of the Football Hall of Fame over in Canton. And I will go ahead back to our presentation here. And we'll go ahead. Now, collaborations and the Ohio DLA. I'll let this video give you a nice definition of who they are and what can be done through this group.
What is the Ohio Distance Learning Association? We are a statewide team of educational and technology service centers, content providers, schools, colleges, and other users of distance learning technology. Our mission is to promote and foster the formation of partnerships among schools and affiliates to further the effective use of distance learning. Great question. Here are some examples.
Let's take a look under the hood, as it were, of a standard video conferencing system running what's called H.323 codec technology.
If you are new to the world of distance learning, we can help you get started. From simple desktop computers to fully loaded audio-visual studios, our team can suggest the best solutions to get you connected to the content that you need. Some of our members deliver daily classes through distance learning. These live, two-way, fully interactive connections with classrooms fill gaps where courses have been dropped or extra need exists. This time-tested solution can even allow students to gain advanced credit through College Credit Plus. If you need to enhance your classroom with real-life career connections, we can help there too. Our content providers incorporate Ohio's learning standards into their dynamic, diverse, and socially relevant programming. Thank you for watching, and we welcome you to become a member of the Ohio Distance Learning Association. Open your eyes to the world of distance learning.
So like I mentioned, TCCSA is a member of that group, and you can sign up for free membership just so you can be aware of some of their collaborations that will be going on. And
What is the Ohio Distance Learning Association?
Clearly, I don't do well with slides that have video on them. I want to get to the collaborations. Here they are. So they will have these programs. Some are national, like Read Around the Planet. And we see there it says sponsored by CILC. And I'll tell you what that is in a little bit. But some of these are a little bit more local, like Holiday Storytelling Extravaganza. And so that one is where they'll pair upper level language arts students with younger students, and they will read to one another. The Monster Match is a collaboration where students provide directions, and then they have to perform what one student from a different location has given. And I think you've probably done something, if you've done anything like this with following directions in the younger grades, then it's just adding the distance connection so that you're meeting with students outside of your building. And what happens during the video connection is students have to show the pictures that they drew based on the directions that were sent to them. So that's real fun. And they have Palooza listed there. They have two new ones, and I didn't get them on the list today, but my follow-up email and a link I will provide for those watching the recorded video. I will have links to all of these as well as the two new ones. And Math Marvels, I believe, are storytelling problems. And I will have all the grade levels as well that are included into these activities. And what I like about the connection with the Ohio DLA, you heard it in the video that Lee was the narrator for. Lee is from the Cleveland Historical Museum, and she has that awesome white hair with the mohawk. And she explained that they pair up all their activities with Ohio state standards. So working within Ohio gives you that luxury. Now the grant. I was in a meeting just last week, so grateful that I had that meeting on Thursday before this class, because for the last couple years, there's been this remote edX grant. These are the grant participants, and I've had an article on our website about it. And some of these may have a fee, but because of the grant, they are free. and the grant is coming to an end. So what they are doing with the remaining grant funds is to set aside, they will pre-purchase time with the Cleveland Museum of Natural History, Columbus Zoo, Ohio History Connection, and Great Lakes Science Center. Which one of you did a field trip? So just so you know that you can now have a virtual one at no cost. Now, the ECO, ESC, SOIDA, Muskingum Valley ESC, some of those connections, they might be collaborations. I'm not as familiar with them because they're kind of like us, where they're an educational service agency that is going to have different type of programming. So I believe I linked this here. So when you get the presentation, it'll take you, click on the picture, it'll take you out here to the Ohio DLA Remote edX grant site. And looking at this, it's pretty simple. I will let you know this website might not be updated. These decisions were made just last Thursday, but the original timeline was to get your requests in by June 30th. This recording is happening on June 14th. So if you want to do something for next school year, you would need to fill out this form. It's a simple Google form, and you just put in what you're asking for, your school district, who needs to be contacted, your email, grade level, and how many. So pretty simple. And then on the next slide would be, not going to fill it out to eat up time, but the next slide would be, what program are you asking for? So I back up a bit. What are the programs? First up, Cleveland Museum of Natural History. And they tell you a little bit about this museum. These are the programs. So I know you're not going to be able to read through all these right now, but I want to give you a quick sneak peek of what's available. That's my message. I want to let you know there's stuff out there and it's free. And these are great because they're within our time zone. Another luxury of connecting with someone in Ohio. Right now I see that this first program about the atmosphere, it's listed for second grade, the subject and the length of time. The Balto story, we have body works, climate, drugs 301, birds, dinosaurs, of course, more science. So those are in my group. We do have some science teachers. I hope you could take advantage of these. I know some of them are lower grades, but here's some for middle and upper grades. For math as well. I apologize, it's scrolling through the list is a little nauseating. It's the best way for me to get down to the next provider. We have space. And let's get down to our next provider. Again, grant funded from the Columbus Zoo. You can connect with the zoo and the aquarium for the 5 senses. We have animal adaptations. We're looking at a lot of elementary offerings right here. And now the East Central ESC, what do they have? So now, extraordinary endings, fractured fairy tales. Oh, those are always so fun. And now they aren't listing grade levels here, unless it's in the description. For example, the fractured fairy tales goes up to 5th grade, but it was originally intended for 3rd grade. When you're at the site, take some time to browse around. If you find something now, because keep in mind, you can schedule this for any time during the school year, and you want to lock in your time slot, and I don't care if it's for next April or next May. Fill out the form now, and they can nail down the exact hours, but if you get a rough date in mind, that way you get it on their calendar. You get to take advantage of part of that grant money that's being set aside, and you don't miss out. Originally, the grant wanted you to have your event scheduled by September 30th. So if you see any verbiage about that, don't worry, it is going to allow you to schedule out further. So now we're at the Great Lakes Science Center listings, and we have Bubble. And you would think, gee, science remotely? I'll tell you what, last year my daughter participated in one of the Cleveland ones from Lee, and it was amazing. And it was activities that we could do at home as well. And so it does translate very well remotely. We have some virtual hands-on activities, but if you look, that's for people who are much closer to the Science Center. And then we have, these are those listed. The other ESC, Muskingum Valley, for taking a look at their programs. So again, some primary, Beautiful Pumpkins. We have Seuss, a wonderful collaboration for Read Across America. And you know that one's in the spring, so that's a schedule ahead, of course. And the Ohio History Connection. I always see wonderful things from them, and then I look at the price tag and I just gasp, but now I don't have to. These are going to be part of this grant collection that you can connect with them. So our social studies teachers in our group, I hope you will take advantage of these. We have Underground Railroad. We even have economics in there. So we're talking about government. And if there's isn't anything from one of these entities that fits you, but you have a co-teacher in your building or someone else, another subject, when I send you the resources, please share it, send it on, and I will help any of you who are local to us get connected with these. Even if it means I fill out the form and pop by your classroom the day that you're going to do your connection. And often they'll have a test connection, so especially the Cleveland Museum. These are from SOIDA, and this is Christmas Around the World. So that's part of that Ohio DLA collection. It's a collaboration. We have Earth Day, another spring event. We have a Thanksgiving. Fun to be laughing your head off with idioms. We have St. Patrick's Day. We have Rock Cycle. So again, these will not cost you anything. I want to pause here and ask if there are any questions from those who are connected with us live. Now, in the video for the Ohio DLA, Lee was narrating and did mention, all right, big equipment, this H323, I mean, this has been around over 20 years. We don't have to have that. But if you're curious, all right, can I use Zoom? Well, look at this. Yeah, all of these will use Zoom. And even with, they're going to have the license. So you personally, or your district does not have to own the license. It's just meaning that they're going to use Zoom. You can install or join from the Zoom app or join from your browser on your computer whenever they connect. So that's why using Zoom for our own event today kind of gives you a taste of what a connection would be like. They'd use the same tool. So I'm going to leave the list of grant opportunities. I didn't see any questions come out of our chat. Oh, here is one. Okay, so am I able to sign up for more than one class? Oh, goodness, no. Jackie, you go crazy. They have a large pot of money that they're dividing up. There is, because honestly, you guys are probably the first people, literally that meeting was on Thursday. You're the first people to hear about what is out there remaining. So you sign up for as many as you like. This is a resource that I've known about for several years. I stay on their newsletter just so I don't forget about them. I personally would not be joining, but I love seeing what they have posted. And if you look at the dates there, these were all just last week, very recent. So exploring by the seat of your pants. I will say these are for our upper level. Since I've shown so many for our lower level grades, I know we do have upper level teachers here. We even have a foreign language here. So maybe more collaborations work in your favor, or even traveling. So going to locations that are Spanish speaking are activities you would do for a foreign language. But I'm going to quickly visit here this website. The picture is linked just like my other images. And so this just passed on June 9th. They had Benjamin Jones and seagrass. I have found that these are more eco type. So we're definitely thinking science. They're talking about our environment. So I'm going to be steering our science teachers more in this direction. But it's free to just join. These are going to be scheduled events. And let's see, they do have future ones. And if you're looking, so let's see. I want to go to Brazil because that would be a Spanish speaking. There's a list of countries they've had guest speakers. You can also watch their recordings. So that's kind of like those other national parks I showed you. So if you don't or aren't able to fit one of their events into your schedule, that's okay. You can go ahead and watch one of their past activities that happened. And I know there are some coming up yet next week, even though this calendar looks blank. Maybe it was July. Let me go forward. Oddly enough, boy. All right. Well, I'm not seeing them right now. And let's see. We have French events for the Cross Canada virtual road trip. Here are their recorded events. And let's see their new events. Okay. And it looks like they have Kahoots that go along with some of their events. So this is a whole nother resource to dive into. They are fully free. But one of those struggles is when connecting to somebody outside Ohio, you'll always have to watch time zones, because if they are clear over in Colorado or Yosemite, they do a lot of connections. Then you have to take into account that time change. And exploring by the seat of the pants of your pants might have some of those time differences. So let me get ahead to our next slide. I think that is my last slide. Now, it doesn't mean I'm completely out of resources. This was in our agenda to talk about next. This is CILC, the Center for Interactive Learning and Collaboration. Another portal where you can join for free. And even if we are just looking at their website, I'm going to back up to see if it, I want to show you the login page. Pretty simple. And I'll be adding that. I'll just log out. I'll do that. All right, so the CILC, another group, they're going to have actually some of the people we already talk about listed here. So think of this like a catalog for organizations to post. This is how they get the word out nationwide or even globally. And so you can find free programs. You can also do some collaborations through here. And then they're showing you some of their popular ones. This site, I guarantee, will have resources in it that do have a cost. If you come across the Cleveland Museum, Great Lakes Science Center in here, I wouldn't really sign up for them through here because of the grant. So I don't want to confuse anybody, but you are going to find them in here as well as being on our grant site. So I'm going to just log in here real quick. Just wanted to show you, if you're not a member, right there, you join. And it could be, I'm not using the right username. Oh dear. Well, why on earth did I log out? Now I'm stuck. Isn't that the way? Well, now's a good time we could ask some more questions. Is there anybody out there while I'm quickly looking up my password? Any questions from our live group? All right, no questions. That's okay. We'll do this one more time now that I have looked officially. Okay, phew. Who knows? My fingers must have been hitting the wrong keys. When you sign in, you can now look at program requests you might have made. Maybe you are starting to collaborate with another classroom, or you're going to post one. So here's where you get yourself out there and say, hey, I'm a Spanish classroom. I'm looking to collaborate with another one. We are in Ohio. These are our bell schedule and our period schedule times. And then you can favorite some items. But I gave you the cautionary tale. Some things in here will cost. Well, if I want to just start searching, I'll try a keyword like the word free. And in their own search, they do have cost. So I could dial that into just free, but I want to find out if there's anybody in our live group who hasn't heard a suggestion for their subject yet that they might want to search for. So in our chat, if you would like me to search for a certain subject you teach, because sometimes doing a virtual field trip is a way to help with that difficult to learn or that concept where students struggle, to get them more engaged into it and give them a learning experience that they will get that information from an outside source and it might stick a little more. So if you want to either unmute your mic or just type in the chat a subject I'm going to search for. You guys are in the driver's wheel now. Nobody wants me to search for any subjects? Oh dear. Now, Casey, I know Casey had a problem with his connection, so he is out. I was going to get the idea from administration. Well, we finally have someone who found their keys, and Sandy, and Casey's coming back into our group. So I'm going to search for art and bring some more. All right, Jackie has American colonists. I know it takes a time to find that chat. So we'll do art for our first search. The cost is free. I know we might not come up with anything, and that's okay. But let's see what we have. All right, we did find something. And for you, Sandy, what level in art do you teach? Because I'm seeing some for middle and high school. I'm also seeing ones that look like they span the whole. Okay, she is high school. I see that in our chat. So they do have student to world, art in action. We're looking at visual art in the Hall of Fame experience. Oh, that's too cool. So we see him sculpting And I wonder if which Hall of Fame, and I'm thinking this is the Football Hall of Fame. And we have, oh, this would work for our world language teacher. We have the free program from Latino Art and Culture. And that's how you might find more of your foreign language connections, is through studying a location or studying artwork of that culture. So I'm impressed so far, because that's a hard subject to go out and find resources, especially free. The second suggestion was American colonists. So we're still stuck on the free filter. All right, American Indians, a free program. Wonderful. Looks like we're going to hit grades 3 through 12. And so Jackie put that in our chat suggestion. Jackie, what levels? You are 4th grade, I believe. Is that right? Yes. All right. She's 4th grade. So she'd be covered with that one. And we do have African-American artists. Hey, check that out. We actually got an art one in there, even though we were looking for American colonists. And it's just really sticking to that American world. So I'm surprised as many as we are finding here. I'm going to go with another word that you guys put in the chat for Courtney. She has Martin Luther King. And that search has brought back to us his speeches and his memorial. We have the DC area National Parks and Partners. All right. You know what? These searches don't usually go this well for me, so I'm pretty happy with CILC. I hope you guys are so far. And I'm going to send you that link, part of our presentation. I'll add this slide. It just was missing from my presentation. And then that brings me to my very final resource. And this is from our friend Amanda Sears in Amherst. So she is a teacher who assists, a tech coach who assists with these type of presentations. And again, I will send you this link as well, because these are hyperlinked. And it's going to probably feel like rapid fire since we're getting to the end of our hour. There are still Holocaust survivors out there. And so this was a connection that she had shown for the gentleman here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But there is a Holocaust museum you can connect with. The National Parks Service. So what's nice here is that Yellowstone, they are definitely one of our big contributors. But again, they're so far out there. Watch your time zones. Here's Yosemite in California. They had a video. We're not going to watch all these. I don't have access anyhow, but 5th graders, we're talking with a park ranger. Denali in Alaska, as well as Mammoth Cave National Park. Now, Mammoth Cave, that's within our driving range. Anyone in our live session here, have you gone to Mammoth? You can just put that in the chat if you have. I live just a stone's throw from it and never got a chance to go there. And so that's on my bucket list for sure, Mammoth Cave. So 8th grade science, we have geological formations, and this is Yellowstone. It's another option. And we have another entire Parks Online resource. This is ports. And this is, again, we're talking California, and it would sure be nice to check out those redwood forests with them. So California, this link to the ports, Parks Online will let you search their resources. So this was just examples of the ports, California connections. Think of this too. So we don't always have to go to museums, parks, and zoos. The collaboration part. This is really how distance learning was started for me in 2002, that we were trying to collaborate with our classrooms in the area. And you can connect if you have students with families in the military. This was an example that she had shared with our group. And you can also connect with another classroom that is in our own region. So empatico, certainly getting students to understand others from different countries. This is a site that will get age level appropriate connections for you. And of course, we're going to be really stretching the challenges in time zones with this website, but it could be a way for our world language teachers to find students who actually live in Spain or live in Brazil and talk to them live. The Elephant Sanctuary in Tennessee. And she had a 5th grade example, so they were studying mammals. And the hits just keep coming. So this list of resources will give you plenty to search for this summer. Buffalo Bill has his own activities, and we can even work with students as young as preschool, because I know we have even kindergarten in our group with us today. And that is in Cody, Wyoming. So don't discount these guys who are local, all right? We want to look at the Football Hall of Fame, possibly in Canton, even if we can't get there. And oh, thank you, our foreign language teachers corrected me that they speak Portuguese in Brazil, not Spanish. Thank you for that. And think of also some collaborative virtual job sharing, and that way students can take advantage of learning that way. Old school, they used to call it Skype a Scientist. Then out came Google Meets, and there's Meet. And it's often easy to find them, to ask questions, and do quick connections with a professional out there. We have the Genovese and Environmental Studies. This was a connection. The South Carolina Aquarium. So I'll provide all these links to you because that's the quickest way for you to jump straight to their virtual learning, their virtual field trip web pages. But we could also connect with penguins, whether they're, hey, African penguins at the Busch Gardens Park. And I just drove past this place 2 weeks ago, the Sea Turtle Hospital down in Marathon, Florida. They'll do connections. Virginia Wildlife Center, and Abraham Lincoln Museum in Tennessee. So I was learning about these this spring, and the Elephant Sanctuary, even in April, or no, it was March, everybody was booked up. So if you're going to start thinking about this in March to do something fun at the end of the school year, forget about it. You have waited too long. It's going to be too late. Now and August is the time for you to get scheduled and start looking for these sites, these free ones. So I see the clock. It now says it's time to stop. And I'm going to stop our recording here.